All right, welcome everyone. We're live here. Rilus Dana. I'm joined today by Mr. Benjy Smith.
We're doing it live.
Yeah, we're doing it live. So this is our networking, and I'm just broadcasting live in so right now in the private Facebook group for Maat Legal attorneys. This is also going on the Rilus Law YouTube channel. So I,
Awesome.
I thought today we'd talk about, mostly it's going to be focused on attorneys and the practice of law. If there's any questions, you guys watching live, leave them in the comments. We'll try to get to them. But I met Benjy a few weeks ago at the My Legal Academy conference, which I thought was a great conference. That was my first introduction to that company. And then later again, we connected on an AI message board, right? I guess so. You asked a question or something, and I commented. I didn't even look and see the name until after. I was like, "Oh my gosh, Benjy!" It's like I just
Yeah.
met that dude.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Great meeting you at the conference, which was awesome. It's all about, most lawyers are thinking in a traditional way, and there's some of us who are crazy enough to try to go in a different direction and try new things out. And it's kind of crazy landscape because most attorneys just want to do what everybody else does. And I don't know about you, but I did that for a long time, and I'm a lot happier trying to do it a different way. And we'll probably talk more about that. But
Yeah. Why
yeah,
don't you introduce yourself first? Let everyone know, who you are, what type of law you practice in.
yeah. So my name is Benjy Smith. I'm here in Los Angeles, California. Um, I have been practicing law, it's crazy to say, for 15 years. 15 years. That's crazy. I was licensed in both New York and I am licensed in both New York and California. For the first 10 years, I did
So
kind
you
of the
took both of those bars.
back to back. Not back to back, like about a year apart. The two hardest bars in the country,
Yeah,
and
yeah, definitely two hardest, depending on who you ask. What would you say is the hardest out of those two? Probably
so
both is horrible, huh?
yeah,
I did
so
California. That's no fun. 3 days.
yeah. So I think California is the hardest. It's a 3 day battle. And because I did them in a short period of time, I didn't get any reciprocity or any sort of um, like break. Like there was no like I got because I took the New York bar and passed. I didn't get to take any less of a California bar. So I'm licensed in both California and New York, and then I did the traditional route and just did traditional sort of business litigation, mostly hourly, some contingency, but mostly hourly type stuff for the first 10 years. Um,
So were you at a
and
big firm then throughout that,
no,
or?
family firm. So my father's an attorney. Both my brothers are attorneys. And so it was my dad, my brother, and several other attorneys. And they were as good as, they're an incredible firm, and learned a ton. And I also just thought that was the life of an attorney. It was a traditional law firm, traditional boutique law firm, did really high stakes, cool stuff. But I always felt like I was a really skilled, hardworking person trapped in kind of a very and creative person trapped in kind of traditional lawyer kind of miserable life. And I didn't think that there was any other option as a lawyer but to live that type of life. And there were ups, there was all sorts of cool stuff that I got to do as part of that life. But I was really excited in 2018. I started making a shift. I didn't get a lot of inspiration from attorneys. I got more inspiration from non-attorneys. I saw that like people were able to be successful without having a completely miserable life, which was like amazing to me. And so I took some inspiration from non-lawyers and started listening to the podcasts and reading books and Rich Dad Poor Dad, and just the whole, self-improvement learning type thing. And I think I took the approach of, well, I've learned things a certain way. How do I kind of unlearn those things? And just try different things, be open to failing, be open to trying things. And if they're a waste of time or they don't work, who cares? If they're great, double down on them. But if they're not, move on and try something new. And I just slowly picked up that habit. And I ended up starting my own firm with a partner in January 1st, 2019. And then I ultimately went out completely on my own in May 21. And along the way, started a plaintiff's employment law firm where we only represent employees. And so I got away from hourly billing. And then at the same time, I always was great at generating business, but there was so many problems trying to take business that I couldn't handle and find the right home for it. And so I ended up developing a technology platform called LawFlip, where when you don't want to take a certain case for any reason, you're able to put it on the platform. It goes out to people who do that type of law, and then it allows for the lawyer to lawyer to negotiate a referral fee and that type of thing. And so that's
let's get into that more in a minute. I want to spend a little bit more time on the LawFlip. That is something that meeting you at that conference, that it made me start thinking a little bit differently about my practice. So is there cases that I can refer, or just how you look at that? But so we have some similar backgrounds in. So I grew up in my family business as well too, in a law firm. Family full of lawyers, and there's that old school way, right? It's like the old school lawyers almost brag about like how miserable they are, right? It's just kind of like that's.
Well, I used to, like, when I would talk to my dad, if I wasn't like working or doing something very productive, and it wasn't just in my eyes productive, it had to be productive in a certain way. It didn't make sense to be doing.
Yeah. So I feel very similar to you, and I felt stuck. I felt trapped. So I guess, yeah. How long has it been? So 15 years. So when did you become a lawyer? What's the math on that?
It was December 2008. So
yeah. So I'm like the same as you. So we're like the same. And then so when I went to law school. I came back into the estate planning family business.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, companies were already paperless, right? Like it was way behind the scene, but it was like that was my struggle, trying to get them to go paperless at that time and just utilize some basic technology. And it was like, it's like this works, right? That was a hard thing. They're making a lot of money and it's successful, so like we don't want to change. Why would we change?
Yeah, and look, a lot of time, and like a lot of times, it doesn't make sense to shift when you're doing something and it's working. It doesn't, but I think for us, we saw a different way to do things.
Yeah, and just I wanted to be happy as well, right? I don't want to be miserable, and it seems like that I call it the old school mentality. It's just kind of small minded. It's not. It's more fear based, and it's not an abundance mentality of there's plenty for everyone out there, and you can treat people well, and
what's the how many happy lawyers do you know?
I would say the ones that they probably found a different route. I would say they don't have a completely traditional hourly practice.
Yeah.
I try to group myself in that category. I would say I got a pretty good work-life balance.
Yeah.
I was riding my mountain bike this morning. I didn't have a call till 10, so it's like, all right, great. I'm gonna, it's less than 100 in Arizona, so it's like, all right, I got to get out there.
Right, that's a great day. Or that's a great day. I love Arizona.
Yeah. How about you? How many happy lawyers do you know?
So more and more, as I surround myself with lawyers who either are, at the place where I'm looking at them as a sort of either a mentor or a peer that's sort of in the mindset of like, I'm there and now it's just a matter of how to like make this whole thing work better. Or there's a lot of lawyers who they understand like the shift that they want to make and they're on the path. And so But it's tough to find. It just depends what circles you're in. But like, I think because I put out that energy that I do, I sort of attract people like you and others, and also just going to conferences like we did. And I'm a mouthpiece for this sort of movement. I have been, like, on my podcast and other places. Like, I'm passionate about it, and I know how miserable it can be as a lawyer, and I'm just not willing. It just once, it's just like anything else. Um, once you start on that path of understanding that there's a different way, it's just that you do everything in furtherance of that. And so you just attract like-minded people, and that's what you end up finding. So I don't know how many happy lawyers I'm around, but like, it's certainly increasing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that conference, that My Legal Academy conference, because I would say that's it was business minded lawyers. It was people that were looking at new ways to do things, and really utilizing technology.
One more thing about that is I think there was some discussion at that conference about if this conference were being broadcast to the traditional lawyer world, they would be disgusted, and they would be, they would feel a certain way. And I think the big overarching, like, sales objection to this mindset is that it's not real lawyering, or that it's not really in the interest of the customer or the client. But that's like, to me, it's like the dumbest sales objection possible, because
As far as what, like automations or
any new way of thinking, that, like, you're not doing real lawyering because you're using Chat GPT to help you draft something, or you're not, or because you're not doing the work by yourself A to Z, right? You have assistants helping you with different things, and it's just, or you're using templates. It's like, no, for me, I care so much about the quality of the work that goes out, that I have to treat it like a business, because a real business cares about being able to replicate itself in a way that is scalable, and actually you're putting out that good quality work product across the board. And so it's the number one objection to most of this stuff is actually the number one reason for doing it. I want good Google reviews. I want all these things. And these, by doing things in a way that's systematic, like a business, just like Apple does. We all think that Apple does a great job. They don't do things like a small mom and pop shop. They do things where it's scalable across the board and can reach millions of people. So
yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. So it's interesting. So let's talk about some of the automation. So what are some examples of? Or here's what I can say. Like, we came into our careers about the same time. The older attorneys before us, they didn't have to be good, right? When they practiced pre-internet, they controlled all the information. So I think the practice of law was a lot different.
Yeah.
And then, you and I recognize, to be relevant or to have any type of career, we're a service-based business, right? It's got to be a good experience, and we're delivering a service, not just because the information's free now. Anyone can go find the law and download forms themselves. So they're gonna hire someone like us because they want they want a person that's experienced to take them through.
Yeah. So exactly. They don't care about I don't, other than for ethical reasons. Obviously, I want to make sure that all my Apple products are made ethically. But bottom line is, I want my iPhone working well. Do I care in any way, shape, or form how it was made, what the secret sauce is? Absolutely not. I don't care. As long as I have my iPhone working and it was done in an ethical way on the back end, I don't care how it was done. I want my iPhone working. And that's when people come to someone like me or someone like you, they just want to know that you're putting your name behind it, and they trust you. how you do it in your back office is basically your business, right? They just want to know that you are getting it done and you have your seal of approval on it. And I think the hourly model is hot, and I've done it before and I've seen it before and I'm still around it. I see people doing it on defense side or other wares, and I'm like, you're finding ways for your business model to bill as much as possible. This is like stating the obvious. Whereas when you bill by a contingency model or a flat fee model, your goal is to provide the best product in the most efficient way. And I just think the hourly model, it's not, I don't know if it's going to die, but it's only going to go. So it's just like, there was never going to be a replacement for taxi cabs. And then there was, and
Yeah.
there's just going, it's going to die in some way. It's going to die a slow death. There's still going to be people that need to take hourly for some things or other things, but I don't think it's a sustainable model for anybody other than, the
The
top
attorneys.
the top partners at a law firm. I don't think it's a sustainable, positive thing for anybody, even in the big firms or in the medium-sized firms. It's not a good life, and it's not, as everybody thinks that, the there's this the ego that comes with the amazing blessing it is to work at these big firms and all that, but like it's a glorified, relatively highly paid hourly job. That's what these big firms and medium firms are. And I'm not saying that with judgment. I'm saying it like with just talking to lawyers every day and like how miserable they are. And they just are miserable. It's a freaking brutal existence. It just is.
Yeah, I could not survive that world. It's not for me. Those guys are working like 80 to 100 hours a week,
They're
and
not surviving it. They're not.
yeah,
They're just doing it. I mean, I think if you read the Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's kind of a very easy way to just, that was the first, when I read that, I was like, there's a lot, I don't agree with everything he talks about, but that was kind of like that, like everybody's just kind of in this rat race and it just doesn't make sense.
yeah. No, I feel like the hourly model is only good for attorneys, and so I built software that makes the estate planning process much easier. But
Hmm.
what I found is a lot of the challenge, one of the challenges is a lot of lawyers aren't trying to be more effective. They're not looking for ways to get things done. If they're on an hourly model, they want to take as much time as possible. So
And to their credit, it is hard to come up with these alternative charging models for certain types of practice areas. I just It's not that hard. Like there are people out there that do they have found alternative ways to bill, and there are there are certainly times where when you do fixed fee stuff, it's going to end up redounding to your benefit, and there's certain times where you do fixed fee stuff, it's going to redound to the benefit of the client, and that's part of the business model. It's the same way that even with hourly billing, sometimes it works out in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you have to wipe off some of your bill because you screwed something up. Some things happen. It's business. You have to. There's ups and downs, and so I just in general, yeah, I'm pretty passionate about not loving hourly rates.
yeah, me too. It's just I feel like yeah, it's a challenge, but it's not that hard. And I just feel like the attorneys are scared to take a risk.
Yeah,
They just want to like litigation, especially. It's usually hourly rate, but I'm seeing that some estate litigation is contingency. Where you can take a percentage of what you recover, but you're taking a big risk as an attorney. If you're willing to work for free and potentially get nothing.
yeah. But let's going back to I think one of the big issues with this hourly stuff is it encourages you to also do work that you have no business doing. And so you basically have somebody who is they are worthy of charging $500 or $700 per hour. And you don't, and the project requires, either 10 hours of time of an assistant who charges $20 an hour, so that's $200, or maybe 7 hours of an attorney time at $500 an hour. And when you're billing by the hour, it makes sense to use the 7 hours of the attorney because you're going to make a lot more money. But like, that attorney has no business modifying a 30-page motion with multiple exhibits and renaming the exhibits and like doing all the sort of tedious work. It just, they're encouraged to do it because they're going to make more money. And I find that most attorneys, even at the highest levels, are spending a vast majority of their time that a very reasonably priced assistant could be doing most of that work.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, so we're the same there. I think it's better for the public and also the attorney if you're willing to take the risk. Like the way I look at flat fees, as long as I'm winning on more than I'm losing on, as long as I win on like 80% of them, meaning where I'm making more than if I would have billed hourly. It's kind of like insurance in a way where it kind of evens out for people.
Yeah,
because you don't always know the ones that are going to run over.
Yep.
But you can give them an easier price or better price by charging the same flat fee and winning on most of them.
Yeah.
So, all right. So yeah, let's get into before we get into law flip. Tell me about your practice. What are some of the ways that you've used technology, to leverage your practice? What are some of your favorite, tech innovations?
So I'll go off the top with just tools that I use. So everybody's into CRMs, right? Whether they're legal CRMs or other HubSpots and Filevine and all that stuff. And all that stuff works for certain people for certain things. Since the beginning of practicing, I always was into trying to find templates. I was always trying to find the perfect CRM. I have found it doesn't exist. I have found that with every CRM becomes challenges, including you need to pay for every seat, generally, every user. And then you need to train everybody on your team on that CRM. Then any automations or any tools that you want to use that you want to incorporate with those CRMs, you have to either have somebody on your staff that knows how to do the automations and Zapier and all that stuff. And there's a lot of limitations and in terms of what automations you could use. And so I came to the conclusion, for me, at this time, I've reduced everything down to simple technology that addresses one thing that I want to accomplish at a time. So I took everything back to Google Workspace. Everything in my world is Google Workspace. That's the foundation of everything, whether it's email, calendar, Google Meet, Google Docs, Google Sheets. That's the foundation.
As opposed to a CRM.
As opposed to a one-stop shop CRM. I use some things that are considered CRMs in some ways, but the basic tool is Google Workspace, which is basically, I pay for all the, business users that my practice uses, but it's like $12 a month for each user or something like that. But you don't need to train everybody knows that. Everybody knows how to use all that stuff. And then what I've done is I take specific goals that I want to accomplish. So I want to make sure that everybody gets a text message or email from me in a certain way. So I create automations using Zapier, and I don't do it. I have a person who helps me create those Zapier things where let's say I want to have automated text messages every time somebody calls my office or time somebody does a form submission. I created a Zap. And every time so my phone system is Ring Central, which I don't love, but it does the job for right now. And so there's a Zap that gets done between Google Sheets where the leads come in, Ring Central, and Zapier. That's it. That's for the text messages that go out. And there's details that happen behind the scenes there. Then I use Active Campaign for the emails that go out. So any new leads that come in, they get a series of emails.
Active campaign, is that just a Google feature? Something you can do in a
Campaign is like it's an email it's an email what's it called? It's an email
okay, kind of like MailChimp.
yes. Yeah, it's
Okay.
an email client. And then okay, so then we have ChatGPT, which just if you don't use ChatGPT, you're basically playing baseball in the steroids era without playing on without being on steroids. It's just like I
Yeah.
don't say it any other way. Like if you normally hit 30, 40 home runs, you would be hitting 60, 70 home runs using ChatGPT. And I use the paid version, which is $20 a month, which is basically they're paying me to use the service. It's like it's free, plus they're paying me. It's the greatest tool that I've come across. Other ChatGPT and Loom for me in my world have been the two most consequential tools that I've used in the past 5 years that aren't used by everybody.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways that you're using ChatGPT?
So
I love that analogy though. I think that's great. It's like baseball without the steroids in that area. It's like
yeah, it does feel that way because so one of the things that I find with technology and this sort of new way of doing things is I'm an idea person in the sense I have ideas that come to me. I'm sure everybody else does all the time. But in the old way of doing things, that would take too much effort to try, right? That idea would take too much effort to try. Not that it would take too much like effort. I'm open to doing it, but like it would take days to try, and it's just who knows if it's going to work. When you have tools like Loom and ChatGPT and stuff like that, and you're like, hey, you know what? I want to reach out to all lawyers that do this practice area, and I want to create a template that does that. Like you literally just go into ChatGPT and like create a template that reaches out to all lawyers that do this and set up a time that I want to talk to them, and then also tell my assistant, I mean, you're using Loom and you're like, go into search for these types of lawyers, and you can just do these things in a couple minutes, and you get in, and you can say, by the way, in ChatGPT, create instructions for my assistant to do this and to have them utilize our active campaign email client, and it like ChatGPT will just spit out instructions to your assistant with a template, and everything is just done 95% the way that you want it to be done. And maybe you'll make a few small modifications, and then you get to try that thing. And it's just incredible. Creating templates, creating standard operating procedures, responding to emails that take more than one sentence to respond to, drafting template letters, creating arguments for things that you didn't even like. Okay, I want to oppose. There's a certain argument that's being made against me. Let me take the argument, plug it into ChatGPT, and say, opposing counsel made this argument. Give me 15 ideas for potential arguments to oppose that. And you don't even know what they're going to, and then it gives you these arguments. You're like, I never would have thought about that. I never would have thought about that at all. And then you go, and then you zero in on that argument. What facts would you need your assistants to go talk to your client about in order to support that argument? I mean, it just feels like you're able to do things so quickly and on a massive scale. And I think the way that I look at it is every time something comes up, how can I leverage technology to help me do this thing faster and better? And it's a mindset thing. It's all a mindset thing. All of this stuff is a mindset thing. If you are of the mindset that I need to put out the fire of the day, then you're going to be stuck in that miserable life. Every time you have, look, there's certain fires you just have to deal with no matter what. But I think one of the big mindset shifts that I came to was when I have a problem of the day. My old school self would have been like, let me zero in on this problem. I don't care about anything else other than fixing the problem for today. Where I've really tried to shift is I now look at it as, instead of it being a matter for, John Smith to resolve today, I want to never do this miserable task again. I never want to do this again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend extra time on creating templates, standard operating procedures, whatever, training videos, whatever needs to be done so that I never need to do this specific task again, and somebody on my team can do it, or there's a template for it. And so that's the main shift, is like technology will change and it'll get better and you'll shift to different products. But I think the shift needs to be, how do I, through technology and standard operating procedures and processes, shift away from doing every single thing and recreating the wheel every single time?
Yeah, I know that was a lot of like in our conversation in California in Beverly Hills. I, I remember that from our conversation. That was like, how can we, remove ourselves from the equation even more and more is kind of the challenge, as attorneys.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about Loom. I'm not completely familiar with it. Video software, is that what it is?
Loom
And
is, yeah, Loom was introduced to me by Sam Alai, who did the MLA conference that we went to, and it's relatively simple. It's on your phone and it's on you. And I use the paid version, and I just and again, I believe in spending money on software, but I don't believe in spending money on all softwares. Like, they're not all created equal. And the funniest part is, the ones that I find the most useful are kind of the cheap, like ChatGPT, $20 a month. Loom is like, I don't even know how much it is. Maybe it's $25 a month, but I just upgraded to their AI new thing. It's like $5 extra a month. And it's the most incredible product that I use every day. And so if you're doing any sort of work with other people, where other people are helping you accomplish the work that you do, instead of writing them emails or writing them Slacks or writing them text messages or whatever it is that you write them, you record your screen, and you have the choice between having your face on the screen or not having it on the screen. So you could even use Loom to record instructional videos or record podcasts like this or anything else. So you could have your face on it, or you don't have to have your face on it. And then you're recording the screen. And so you're recording the screen, and let's say you have this relatively complicated thing where you have to show somebody on your team 15 different templates and 4 different websites, and I want to use this from this website, and in order to do this filing, you need to go first, you need to log in here, and you need to have a sign in here, and then you need to check this box on this form document, and you need to take this paragraph and put it in here. But in the event that there's an entity, you need to do this, and there's an event, there's a person, you do this. You just do this all on a video, and you're recording it the entire time. And you essentially have a video to give to somebody to just see the whole process. And it reduces the time that you spend on activities like this by like 95%, because like there's so much.
And these videos are easy to send via email, right? It's not like
literally
that's part of it.
You hit start and you hit stop, and it creates a link to the video. And the new thing, and it sort of was always creating also a transcript of what you were saying on it. But now with this like new AI change, you also have a couple opportunities to hit like remove filler. So like every time it edits the video, you can edit the video, but there's automatic like, remove filler words or remove blank. Remove
the ums and
yeah. And then there's a transcript that gets generated. So what I do is I take the transcript, I plug it into ChatGPT, and I say, provide a summary of this in the form of a standard operating procedure, and include the opportunity to include a link of the Loom video in the SOP. So now I'm just taking that, and then it creates the SOP in the ChatGPT. I'm taking that SOP, and then I'm putting the link of the Loom video in there, and I'm sending it to my team, and they're now executing it. And it's incredible. I mean, anybody who tries this and just keeps on trying and keeps on learning it, they'll see leveraging this is just incredible.
Yeah, it seems amazing. So for your team is how you're using it. So complex things.
Even with clients, by the way, if clients, you want to explain something to your client, it's like, I'm going to send an email. No, let me just send them a video, and let me show them like what this document means. Even if you want to sell somebody on signing up with you, it's a lot more personal than sending an email. It's like, hey, seems like you're interested in this. Like, here's the deal. I'm going to send you this retainer agreement, and it seems like you have this challenge. Here's going to be the thing that it's just an incredible tool. You could use it, I mean, for so many different ways.
Yeah, I'm thinking that would be good on our intake. Like, I tried a while ago to include a video with for new clients,
Yeah.
but there was a challenge with the emails not getting delivered. You know, with the attachment or however you do it, it would they'd end up in the junk email more. You know,
Okay.
by adding videos to it. So I think Loom solves that problem. It's a way to do video and make it, you know, easily deliverable.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of the things I heard about in the conference that I was like, I need to use this, but I haven't yet. And trying to figure out Zapier as well, get some automations there.
Yeah, I wish I understood. Part of me wishes I understood Zapier, but like part of this whole thing is understanding what it doesn't make sense for you to understand. Like I don't understand how my car works. Do I need to? Do I need
Yeah,
like why do I need to understand? Like that's part of the mindset too, is like I don't need to understand everything. As long as the thing that I'm trying to accomplish is getting done, like I don't need to become an expert in that.
yeah, and that's a challenge for attorneys. Like I enjoy some of the stuff, you know, like videos, but I'll find myself like, wait a minute, I spent way too much time doing that. Like you know, like I'd be way better off just paying someone to do that, and then I could focus on things that I actually know how to do and don't take me much time.
But a lot of times attorneys to that point want to export everything and they end up doing nothing. Like I want to just pay a marketing company to do my social media posts. I want to pay a marketing company to like bring a brand awareness. Like that's not going to help you. Like what do you really want? You really want more clients. And so buy ads from people who know how to generate clients. And sure, if you want to if your goal is to raise brand awareness, you could hire a general marketing company. But I just find that like the lawyers are so busy, they just kind of look for a quick, easy solution for things. And they're not really even looking at the end goal of what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I used to have an office manager. She used to say that attorneys are simultaneously control freaks and lazy.
Right.
They don't want to do anything, but they want to do it all themselves.
Yeah. Well,
So,
that's the thing, is when you're trying to do everything, you do nothing.
yeah.
You can't do all this stuff on your own without help, without technology. You just can't. So you end up doing none of it.
Yeah, so let's shift. Tell us about Law Flip, and I guess more how that came about, and how some attorneys are using it. I mean, you shared a couple examples of attorneys that were referring big cases on there.
Yeah. So Law Flip is a lawyer to lawyer referral platform. Basically, I built it for myself. And I had, like I said, I had a law partner. And when we first started our partnership, I just knew that we were going to be getting a lot of business that we wouldn't be able to handle ourselves. And this is a common problem. That's why the California state bar encourages and sanctions the sharing of referral fees, because the challenge is that lawyers, as we've talked about, value their time a lot, so much they charge a lot up for their hourly fees. And what happens is you get a referral. John Smith comes in the door and they need a referral for an employment attorney, and you handle personal injury. You don't handle employment. How much time are you going to want to spend on referring it out, even if it's a friend of yours? Like you have to make a living, so you have to charge your hourly rate, and you're trying to bill, but you have to. It's just hard. So you send an email to the one person that you know that does it. They're in Cabo. Hey, I don't know anybody else that can do it, and that's a common theme. It's just and there's 120 plus practice areas. So you're basically being asked all the time to not only do your practice area, but people come to you for these different practice areas, and you throw your hands up. There's 50 states. There's 120 plus practice areas. I need this lawyer that does this in this state. And so what I found was that I wanted to create a more efficient way to deal with referrals. And so I created this platform, and we have hundreds of attorneys. And You post a lead. So, let's say somebody comes to me and they want an estate planning attorney. They come to me and I say, hey, I don't do estate planning. Let me see who in my network is open to doing it. You post the lead and you say, estate planning attorney in California, needed. And then you have several estate planning attorneys in California who raise their hand, sort of apply and say, yeah, I'm interested. And then I just posted that lead. I get to look at the different estate planning attorneys who applied and see which one is the best credentialed attorney to handle the case. And then the platform basically facilitates the ability for the referral to be made, as well as ethically documenting the referral fee. And it's just pretty amazing.
So say that was a client came to you, so you put it on LawFlip.
Yeah.
And then I go and I bid on it as one of the estate planning attorneys and say I want to do it. Or
bidding is definitely not like I know some.
Or what's the lingo? I've been in there once.
Bidding, sure, but like you basically raise your hand and you say, I'm open to working on that case, and you apply.
Right, apply. I guess is the word.
Yeah, bidding. I mean, you can call it bid. It's fine.
So I apply and say, yeah, I can do that. And I believe the software, doesn't it say like the fee, like what you're willing to pay as far as referral fee, and it has all of that.
Yeah, and it has your profile, so like people can look at your profile and say, oh, cool, this person, graduated this school and they look like they're competent. I've now looked at their website and everything, and let me refer to this person. And then there's a messaging system in there to say, hey, you seem like a good fit. Okay, cool. That referral fee sounds good. Let me connect you with the client right now. It basically takes an existing habit, which we already do, which is like how we connect clients with potential referring attorneys. I mean, it just makes it more efficient, and it makes it easier to refer the case. And you're not on like Facebook platform, groups and random email lists trying to like find a referral.
That's a challenge. There's so many places you get messages from now, right? I try to tell everyone to go, just email me, but you got Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, LinkedIn.
Well, that's part of using Zapier to have all those things go to one place.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. That's a good zap. I could help my life.
That's a common one. That's a pretty common one.
Yeah. So the LawFlip would share the details then. So I apply, you send it to me, and then you would just share the details. Like, here it is. It's John Smith. Here's his phone number. Give him a call.
And we're in the platform itself. We have we're certainly in the revenue stage, but like our main goal right now is to grow the network as big as possible, because it's a marketplace. So you need buyers and sellers, and all lawyers are both buyers and sellers. It's a lawyer only platform. So, but all the lawyers on the platform can apply and get leads, and all the lawyers on the platform can refer leads out. And so right now, for the next 3 months, we're actually not charging anything to be on the platform. We have a handshake agreement that if you sign up a case, you're paying $99 to the platform. But we're gonna be shifting towards a monthly subscription. But right now, for the next 3 months, it's better than free. You're getting a lot of value out of this product for essentially nothing right now. But the only way that we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars building out the product. The way that it's been able to sustain is it's helped us in our own practice, getting business and referring out business. And I think I told you a story. My old law partner, he referred a class action case in a minute. He didn't even do it. His staff did it, that he didn't want to handle. And the case settled for $2 million. And he's getting a $200,000 referral fee on a case where he didn't want to handle it. His staff posted it. In a couple minutes, somebody applied for it, and he successfully referred it to a lawyer that he wouldn't have referred it to otherwise. That lawyer then settled the class action case for $2 million. That fee is going to be something like $600,000 or $700,000. And then my friend is getting I think a 25% or 30% referral fee of that for like a minute or a few minutes work.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So right now, and then you'll get the platform will get $100.
Yeah, the platform for all of that benefit is getting $100, but that's just right now. We're gonna eventually. I mean, we're never gonna be. The platform is never I shouldn't say never, but it's unlikely that we'll ever be able to charge enough for the value that we're bringing. I just would encourage anybody to bring their circle of friends into LawFlip, sign up. It's free right now. It makes, once you start building out once we have the user base grown enough in any particular practice area or state, it becomes an incredible tool. My team uses it all day, every day. It's incredible.
Yeah. So, I do estate planning, but the challenge like you described is sometimes your phone rings for stuff that you don't do, and you're spending all this money in marketing, and it's like, all right, is there any way to cash in on this? But at the same time, you don't want to spend a lot of time. So that's where this makes a lot of sense, is if just quick and easy.
Yeah, and you could feel like you're exhausting the effort for the client, and you want to get a good lawyer to help this client. That's one of the challenges with the legal system, is like, you want a quarterback to be able to go help you navigate and find the right attorney for you. That's why the state bars encourage referral fees. They want lawyers to help consumers find the right attorneys.
Yeah, that's good to hear in California. I'm a California lawyer too.
Yeah.
In Arizona, they got rid of the rules. They said they got rid of the rule that says you can't pay referral fees, is what they did.
They got rid of the rule entirely.
Yeah, they got rid of the rule. So you can pay non-attorneys referral fees in Arizona.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And I know that because there's a person that I know, actually, Arizona now allows for non-lawyers to own law firms.
Yes.
That's just insane.
Yeah. I think Utah's done some things as well too.
Arizona and Utah, those are the two places.
But I think that's our future. Unfortunately, it's a little scary, that they're,
But
potentially
back to the whole conversation about these these ridiculous situations where people are being, priced out of being able to hire attorneys. It's just going to change. The whole model is going to change.
Yeah, the future that I see for law is it's going to be more niche based. It's a lot easier for guys like you and I to run their own law firm. 20 years ago, it would have been way more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You have like a server and a law library and
right.
All those things.
You need a laptop.
You're good. An iPhone, you could probably get it done.
Yeah,
well, thanks, Benjy. Thanks for your time today. So lawflip.com, is that how attorneys reach out there?
For free the next 3 months. It's a no-brainer. It's so hard to sound like, it is. It's a no-brainer. Lawflip.com, sign up. I'll approve you as long as you're a licensed attorney in any of the 50 states. And yeah.
Well, thanks for your time today, Benjy. It's been fun talking law on the business side, and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, everyone, make sure you go check out LawFlip if you're an attorney. I look forward to making some referral fees on there. Things do come through that you can't handle, and this is helpful for your clients too. It's a service for your client by doing this. So
100%. Great talking to you.
All right, thanks. We'll see you next time.
Okay. Thanks.